All right, so fair warning, this video might get a little long, so bear with me. We're gonna go through my fitting experience. Stay tuned. So I decided to buy new clubs. I figured it was time, and I know if you guys watched the last video I just posted just a few days ago, that I ended up breaking 2 of my clubs on the driving range.
Oh my God, did we just witness that? Unfathered children. Oh my God!
What is happening?
No way!
So the options was to either get this thing fixed, and if I get 2 of my clubs fixed, I would just might as well had gone through my entire bag and just get everything kind of rebuilt so this doesn't happen again. Or option 2 was to just buy new clubs. Now I have been golfing for just about 3 years now. So those of you who are new to the channel, I'm about 3 years in, and I have yet to gotten like properly fitted for an entire set of clubs. So I figured, you know, since the channel and everything like that, I figured it'd be time to actually go and properly get fit, buy a new set of clubs. So I got to thinking, and I figured, you know, since I want to be as transparent as possible, especially to all the new golfers that come on here and try to like learn as I'm learning and learn with me and that type of thing, I decided to go get fitted, and I went and got fitted at 3 different places. So I got 3 different fittings. Now, not all of them are full bag fittings. I did one that was a full bag. I went to another place that I just got my irons fitted, and I went to the 3rd place and I got my wedges and my woods fitted. Basically my wedges, 3 wood and a hybrid. So I have the results right here. So we're gonna go through it, and we're gonna share with you guys what they found. Now the reason why I did this is because I wanted to kind of see, because I'm usually a skeptical person. I'm usually skeptical about a lot of things, but I wanted to see how accurate these fittings were, right? Especially since it's my first time getting fitted. I wanted to see 3 different places, and if I was gonna get 3 completely different results, or if, you know, it was going to be pretty similar to, you know, one over the other. So, you know, just kind of getting as much data and as much information as I possibly can throughout these, you know, particular fittings. One, I went in and I told them exactly what I kind of wanted, and then they tried to fit me into a certain thing. And then 2, just, you know, just basically sharing general knowledge about my game and just see where the fitting goes and what they recommend in terms of, you know, things of that nature. So I have the results. The first place I went to was Worldwide Golf, aka Roger Dunn. Now Roger Dunn was the first stop, and we actually went through a full bag fitting. So my driver, my woods, my irons, and my wedges. And here are the results. So wedges, he put me into a 50, 56, and a 60 in terms of my dispersion. And all these was going to be standard bounce. The shafts, now the shafts is our big one, right? So he fit me into a dynamic gold 115 weighted shaft, and he fit me into a +1/2 inch extension. And also too, just to throw this out there before I get going to the rest of this, is every fitter that I went to all agreed that I was going to be more so fit into a mid-size grip. So mid-size grip across the board. But what's interesting about the first fitter, that he recommended a 115 weighted dynamic gold shaft, and he fit me into a +0.5 extended length, because I am like 6'5", 6'4", 6'5". So yeah, I thought that was interesting right off the bat. And the wedges that he fit me into was the MG5 wedges from TaylorMade. I kind of went in, told him I was a big TaylorMade fan, and I kind of wanted to stick into that TaylorMade ecosystem. But I also did tell him that if he recommended that I switch up and get something else, then feel free to kind of recommend whatever he feels that I should be swinging. Now I did swing, I think I swung some Titleist wedges and some Callaway wedges. And for me, I don't know, the MG5s just felt better and the best, and I guess I was kind of hitting those the best while I was there. So that was the wedges. And then we move over to the irons. Now before I tell you what the iron brand that he fit me into, I'm gonna go ahead and tell you about the specs in terms of the shaft and everything else. The loft right off the bat was a standard loft. They wanted to fit me into a dynamic gold Tour Issue X100. I guess that's one of their X stiff shafts, and I think the weight on that was a 120 gram shaft. Yes, 120 gram shaft, standard lie, standard loft, and he recommended pitching wedge through a 4 iron. So that's what we had with that. And the irons, I hit a couple different irons. I started off with the TaylorMade P790s, which was the ones that I was gaming before, which was just like the older model. I also hit some Callaways. I hit some Titleist, and I think that was pretty much it. I think I hit 3 clubs. And I'm gonna be honest, I wasn't really hitting the ball that well during this session, and the numbers was kind of all over the place. One thing that was consistent though, that my ball spin was like consistently really high, and I was spinning the heck out of the ball. Launch was going super high as well. But we ended up fitting me into the P790s because I was kind of slightly hitting that better, and I was already familiar with the TaylorMade system. So P790s 2025 edition, and that's what we were at with the irons. Now moving on to the woods. I guess this comes at no surprise since I went TaylorMade with everything else. We kind of stuck with the TaylorMade because I already have the QI35 driver, and we didn't really mess with that, but he did recommend for the driver anyways a 10.5 loft, which mine is currently a 9-degree loft. But I kept mine, so I wasn't really necessarily getting fitted. I wasn't going to buy a new driver. I can just, customize it and adjust it and make it a higher loft if I need be, but I kept it at 9 degrees. He also recommended me a Hazardous Black 70 gram 6.5 shaft, mid-size grip, standard everything else, and standard length as well. And that was a QI35 low spin, so it's the LS driver. Then from there we went to a 3-wood, so we had the QI35 Tour 3-wood, and he recommended me the shaft. He goes Hazardous Black 70 gram 6.5 X stiff, and everything else stayed the same. So mid-size grips, standard loft, standard lie, or whatever the case may be. And then from there we went to a 2 hybrid he recommended. I currently have a 3 hybrid in my bag, but he said I was hitting the 2 hybrid the correct distance and slightly better. Sure. And that was the QI35 hybrid. And the shaft that he recommended me for this one was a Tensi AV Limited Blue 85 gram X stiff shaft, standard lie, and that was the first fitting from Roger Dunn. So interesting. I thought it was pretty interesting, especially going with like a 115 stiff shaft for my wedges, and then going a 120 shaft stiff shaft dynamic gold for my irons. Because before I was gaming my because if you guys saw the last video, I had the UST Mamiya graphite 120 gram X stiff shafts, which I kind of liked, but being that my swing speed is a little high and giving the I'm pretty strong, and I was bending the heck out of that graphite shaft, even being that it was a 120 gram X stiff. He recommended that I would go steel just because it's going to help get that ball flight down. Yeah, so basically, just getting the ball flight down, because like I said, I was towering the ball and I was hitting it really high. And a lot of that has to do with my my swing too. So, you kind of give that with a grain of salt. So that was the first place. And like I said, I didn't want to just take his word for it and then just order that set right then and there. So I decided to go get a second opinion, and the second place we went to was GolfTec. GolfTec, I was just kind of browsing on their site one day, and I was just kind of looking up at different appointments. And as soon as I got off the site, I got a phone call from them, and they told me to come in, get fitted. So I was like, screw it, why not? And this is why I like to just go get fitted at a couple different spots. So GolfTec, and let me pull it up on my phone real quick. So GolfTec, we only did irons because I was just really curious about irons and the staff the shaft that I should be using with my irons and so on and so forth. And shout out to Jordan. Jordan was the one who fit me. So right off the bat, we were hitting a bunch of different things. So we had some TaylorMade P790s. We had the TaylorMade 770s. We hit the Titleist 150s. We hit the Titleist 250s. We hit some Cobra irons. We also hit some Mizuno irons. So we were kind of all over the place. But I think I spent about hour and a half to 2 hours in there, just swiping away. And I will say I was hitting the ball a little better than I was hitting it at Roger Dunn. So take that into a grain of salt and what these numbers are about to be. So this guy, Jordan at GolfTec, was trying his best to put me into the Titleist, I think 150s or 250s, one of the two, or 100s or 200s. I don't know. I don't really remember, but he swore on his life that I should probably go with the Titleist irons. And I just wasn't a big fan of the look and feel, especially the feel. I mean, it didn't feel bad. Granted, it was a little bit of a heavier iron than the TaylorMade iron, which that kind of felt pretty nice. But just at address, looking down at it, I wasn't just a huge fan. But he did say that I was hitting the Titleist T250s I was hitting my 7-iron about 187, 188, like 188 yards on average. And he said I was cooking that thing. And then when we went over to the P790s, because it was basically boiling down to those two, I didn't like the look and feel of all the other clubs that I was hitting. So it's going to be out of the Titleist and the TaylorMade P790s. So when I went over to try out the P790s, and then I did not tell him that I wanted to stick to a certain ecosystem. He did see the clubs that I was gaming, and I did have the P790, so he saw that. But like I said, he was trying his hardest to get me into the Titleist T250s. So like I said, when I went over and started hitting the P790s, it was going slightly, like it wasn't going as far. So I was hitting the Titleist 7-iron about 188, and I was hitting the TaylorMade P790s about 179, around that ballpark. And for me, distance isn't a huge thing, but here's where the test was kind of like skewed a little bit in my opinion. So when I was hitting the Titleist, like I said, the Titleist club, when it was in my hand, it felt heavier, and I actually liked that feeling. But then he started talking to me, and he started telling me what he was putting me into, and the shaft and the whole makeup. So the Titleist club had a 130 KBS X stiff shaft on it, and then the TaylorMade club had a KBS 120 X stiff shaft on it. So once he told me that, I was like, okay, well, let me see if I can let me see what it would feel like and what the numbers would look like if I hit the TaylorMade and a 130 X stiff shaft. Then he proceeds to tell me that they didn't have a KBS X stiff shaft for the TaylorMade P790 club, because I guess, you know, the club tips are different. So he said he didn't have that one in-house for me to hit. So I was like, right off the bat, this test is kind of like skewed a little bit, just because there's a 10-gram difference, even though that doesn't seem like a whole lot. I think it does kind of equate to like why I was hitting the Titleist club further and the P790 club not as far. And I like the feeling of the Titleist because it was heavier. And he even told me that the TaylorMade is not as heavy, but I don't know if that's more so the head. It might be the head, I don't know. But it was also the shaft. The shaft was 10 grams less than the Titleist one. So, but I just want to add this in there too. When I was hitting the Titleist clubs, even though it was going further, the dispersion was I was pulling the heck out of it. First of all, the TaylorMade dispersion was a tad bit tighter when the numbers were showing, and it just, I don't know, the TaylorMade club just felt better hitting it to me. Maybe that's because I'm a TaylorMade fanboy, I don't know. But yeah, I wasn't too sold on the Titleist, even though, like I said, he really tried to like sell me that Titleist. And then once I kind of left there and I was telling my boy about the whole experience, and he told me, and he's familiar with the whole fitting, and he's been in the game for a really long time, and he said a lot of these fitters try to fit you into something that they'll make a bigger commission on. So once he told me that, I was like, okay, that makes a lot of sense, because he was really harping on these Titleists, because I think they were like a couple $100 more expensive than the TaylorMade clubs. Nonetheless, I left there thinking that the TaylorMade P790s 2025 clubs with a 130 X stiff shaft would probably be the best makeup for me. So that was fitting number 2 at Golf Tech, and yeah, fitting went pretty good, and I just feel like that was the one that I kind of realized that I do really like the feel of that TaylorMade P790, and I honestly really do like the 770 as well. I just wasn't hitting it as good, and you had to be slightly a better ball striker. I wasn't, because when I was hitting it and when I caught it, it was going really good, but I had way too many mishits with it, and so I just decided like I'm just not ready for that type of club yet. So I like to go with the P790s, and I think that would probably suit me better with that KBS 130 shaft X stiff. So then it brings us to fitting number 3, and that fitting was at none other than, that's where I got this envelope from, Golf Galaxy. So Golf Galaxy was the last stop, and like I said, Golf Galaxy, we didn't do a full bag. We just did the wedges and a wood and a hybrid. So he just fit me into the long game. This elected not to do a driver fitting just because, like I said, I'm pretty comfortable with my driver, but probably should have done that because I probably would need to get fitted into another shaft because I'm not too happy with the shaft that I'm currently using. But nonetheless, here are the results at Golf Galaxy. We're going to start with the wedges. So again, we had a number of different wedges, Titleist, Callaway, Mizuno, and we elected to go with, no surprise, the MG5 wedges from TaylorMade. So the wedge makeup was pretty similar. So, I mean, actually slightly different than Roger Dunn. He fit me into a 50, a 54, rather than a 56 that Roger Dunn fit me into, and a 60. So that was the dispersion that he recommended, was 50, 54, and a 60. Standard lie. Also, he recommended that I go standard length too on my wedges, which I thought was pretty interesting given, like I said, I am 6'5", and the other two places recommended like at least a half an inch longer. I don't know. For me, I just kind of felt like the longer club just feels a little bit better, but he kind of made a good point. He said the longer the club, the more spin that I'll have on it. I don't know. Half an inch, I'd rather go over comforts rather than super bending over, but it's like a half an inch. I don't know if it makes that big of a deal, but that's what he recommended. And in terms of the shafts, he recommended a 130 KBS X-Stiff shaft, similar to what GolfTech said and vastly different from what Roger Dunn said. Actually, no, that's not accurate. He recommended the 120 KBS X-Stiff shafts. So we got one place recommending a 115 X-Stiff and the Dynamic Gold. Then you got GolfTech recommended the 130 X-Stiff and the KBS Tour shaft. And in this place, Golf Galaxy, he recommended the 120 X-Stiff and the KBS Tour shaft. 3 different places, 3 different shaft recommendations, and and this is why I kind of elected to do this, because I was just kind of curious of what who would say what and blah 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 blah. So everything else is pretty much standard, mid-size grip, like I said in the beginning. There was a reason. I think there was a reason why he said that he would recommend me going with a 120 shaft over a 130, and I think he said something along the lines of the heavier the shaft, I think the more spin I will get, or the less spin I'm not 100% sure, but he had a reason behind it. I don't remember exactly what it was, but that was the wedges. Then it got a little interesting. We went over to the 3-wood and the 3 hybrid is what we got fit into. So the 3-wood that he fit me into was a Ping 6440 with a X-Stiff 75 gram Tennessee black, or 75, I think it was 7S X-Stiff Tennessee black shaft. So 3-wood, he said I was hitting the Ping the best, and with the 3-wood, again, we're all over the place. We had TaylorMade, we had Titleist, we had Ping, we had Callaway, and we hit Mizuno. So he said the Ping was going the furthest, and then a couple of friends that I was with at that particular fitting did say that Ping has probably the most forgiving head out of all of the brands out there, whatever floats your boat. But the Tennessee black X-Stiff shaft was the shaft choice that he recommended, and it felt like that was interesting because even though that he saw my club makeup and he knew that I liked TaylorMade, he said that I was hitting this club the best, and to each their own. So then we go over to the 3 hybrid, and for the 3 hybrid, he actually recommended the QI35 hybrid with a Khalil blue 95 gram X-Stiff shaft. So that was the 3 fittings. We finally got through that. Took a lot longer than I wanted it to, but those were the results. Now, what did I ultimately go with? Because I did put in an order and I'm waiting to get my clubs in the mail. I went with, in terms of my wedges, I went with the TaylorMade MG5 wedges, and I think I went with a 130 X-Stiff plus 0.5 extended. And I don't know, I just felt like that was probably the best for me. It just felt better, and we can whatever. I think wedges are not going to be as prevalent. I shouldn't say that because I have no idea, but let me know if I made the right decision in the comment section below with my wedges. That's what I ultimately went with in terms of buying. And then for the irons, I went with the TaylorMade P790 with a 130 KBS X-Stiff shaft with the mid-size grips, and that's my iron makeup. Super happy with that decision. I felt like even though I didn't particularly hit that setup, I think that was probably the best that I was kind of gathering from all the different information that I was getting. And I think that was going to be the best option for me going forward. So that's what I ultimately went with. And then for the woods, the 3-wood, I went with the QI35 Tor 3-wood with a, what shaft did I get on it? We got the Hazardous Black 70 gram 6.5 X-Stiff shaft and a standard length with a mid-size grip. And for the 3 hybrid, aka 3 rescue, we went with the TaylorMade QI35 and the Hazardous Black 90 gram X-Stiff and a standard length as well. So that was the clubs that I ordered, and it's been about, I don't know, it's been about a week or 2 now. So we're just waiting to get those bad boys in, and then we can actually take those out to the course and finally get those things tested. I haven't golfed in about, I would say, almost a month or 2. Like, it's been crazy. I haven't really been golfing that much. Things have been crazy busy with work, and also I had broken my 2 clubs, so that kind of sidelined me a little bit too. But yeah, man, as soon as I get these clubs back in, hopefully we get some more golf videos going on the channel now that it's starting to cool down a little bit, and we get out to, you know, some of these nice golf courses and play some rounds. And yeah, man, so that was it basically. I know this video was a little long. If you've made it this far, thanks for rocking with me, and let me know in the comment section below if I made the right decision, if you guys would have did something different. Like I said, it was my first time going through this experience, and it was very interesting and eye-opening. Like I said, 3 different places, virtually 3 different results in terms of the club makeup that I was supposed to get fitted into. But nonetheless, I'm pretty happy with the decision that I made. Hopefully the game agrees and I start shooting some better scores with the new setup. But yeah, like I said, let me know in the comment section below what you guys thought, if I made the right decision or not. And yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.